creating? Just in life, for yourself, for the places inside of which you occupy space and time. What are you creating? What are you cultivating? And I ask that question to you, the listener, and to me, myself, to go within and pan out and look and see clearly, particularly after the results of the election, where there's so much energy out there, so much angst and fear and hate and love and joy and peace and war and alignment and connection and disconnection, and anxiety and meditative calm. It's like all things exist, even when outcomes are other than based on the reasons why, the election. All things exist. And so inside the existence of all things, what am I creating? What am I cultivating? And I ask this because for me, even though, of course, we all do all things at some point in time, I'm not someone who likes to commiserate and focus on the ill. I don't like to stand or sit too long in the puddle, mud, murk of the problem or the fear behind something, which includes the outcome of the election for people such as me, a Democrat. I'm also Black, a woman, lesbian, gay, queer. Often I look like a question mark. People wonder, what pronouns might this person use? She, her, thank you very much. But if you happen to say they, I won't be, mad at you. I get it. But what am I cultivating? Knowing that, the person to my left or my right could be someone who very well does not have my best interest at heart. Do I sort of massage in and cultivate the reality and fear of that and the disappointment of that? Or do I focus on sort of the higher vibration of change and love and peace and calm abiding? And this isn't a judgment about, however one gets through the things that need to be gotten through, as long as we aren't hurting others. Interesting there, huh? As long as we aren't hurting others, then be with that. And perhaps that's why it's hard for people to cultivate calm abiding, particularly in these moments, because there are people trying to hurt us, in fact, take away what isn't theirs to take, control what does not require controlling, disapprove of lives and ways of being inside of one's human experience because it goes against or colors outside their lines. All things exist, and even still, knowing that there are people who do not have my best interest, who could give two hoots about me and my feelings in this moment in this podcast, still, what do I want to cultivate for myself? What am I creating in my day-to-day, in my reality? In what direction do I lean? And it's important to me because, I heard someone say somewhere, and who knows the origin of it, that anger is like the punishment you give yourself. To dwell in the ill of the outcome is a kind of punishment that I don't deserve. So how do I create change from the inside out? And where do I put my time, attention, energy, money perhaps, that opens the door to different things in another moment, where perhaps the next go around the outcome is more in alignment with the highest vibration? How can I take the energy of disappointment and angst and anxiety and transform it, creatively sort of metamorphosize it, so that it births something beautiful rather than perpetuating itself in the energy of dis-ease, fear? And all those things are real. Let us not turn a blind eye to the truth of how we feel, but rather enter in and understand it and hold it and grow it forward, so that we're not cultivating fear. We're giving it its due, to learn it, to hold it, to experience it, and to evolve from it. Yes. Let us not bypass the fear, the anxiety, the worry, the concern, and let us also not cultivate those things falsely because we think we should. Or let us not worry too long and too deeply as if worry produces an outcome that elevates and uplifts, because it doesn't. It's quite the opposite. Fear can cause us to be so much so other than who we truly are that we either fight or we freeze or we rage against the world. But it's the world within that's suffering. So how can we experience our disappointment, not cultivate the disappointment, but just bear it witness, give it its due, and then meet life, lift it up differently other than how it is? What are we creating? What are we cultivating? When we are facing something other than what we want to experience or face, what energy are we cultivating in that moment? Are we rising to the highest level? Or are we standing there sort of in the murk, mud, dank, dark of the energy of defeat, disappointment, anxiety, fear? Nah, it's real, and how do we reclaim our true power and voice from that and not succumb to the energy of it? Like, cultivate the highest form of it. That's what I'm thinking about after the outcome of the election, and so many people are experiencing so many feelings. You know, the weight of it, the hopelessness, Yet there is room and space, a crack in the floorboard that allows us to see clearly through and beyond. Contrast is real. This moment now is not the totality of moments. Let us be reminded of that and create something beautiful from the mess, like the lotus from the mud, Create something beautiful from the mess. Someone somewhere must need to wake up in this moment. If we're trusting life and how things come to be, then we have to also trust even these moments where we cannot believe it, even though we can. So that we can create and cultivate the highest thing and not lose ourselves in the emotional weight of our disbelief and disappointment and frustration and anger and fear and pain and hurt behind this thing, because this thing is going to be. So how do we meet it? By creating and cultivating something beautiful from the mess. May we be lotuses. May we be lotuses, which means we have come through the mud. The fear, the anger, the hurt, the disappointment. We have come through that. We didn't drop into it and hang out and stay for a while and pitch a tent. We kept walking, dragging, crawling, kicking, screaming, reaching, striving through the mud to arrive at the cultivation of the lotus. May we be lotuses. And may we know deeply that all is well. That we don't have to have all the answers to how. We don't have to see how that makes sense. We don't have to lose ourselves in how things appear. We can feel our feelings and hold them and create space for that and cultivate and create something beautiful. May it be so for all of us, that we wake up to the lotus, that we see our way through the mud, cultivating and creating the highest form and outcome, no matter how it appears, but keeping steady our eye and our gaze on the highest thing. Yeah. May we create that, and may we cultivate that, and may we become the lotus. Knowing deeply that in order to be that, we cannot separate ourselves from the mud. Thank you for your time, for being with me. May you be held, sustained, and carried. And may you be a source of holding, sustenance, and carrying of others through. Yeah. Come back around. I enjoy your company, your ear.